What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more fighting. Can you guys hear me loud and clear? Let's get it. Smash the like button. We working. Gang, gang. Wow. Wow. Are we coming in loud and clear? Can y'all hear me? If y'all can hear me, let me know. Can anybody hear what I'm saying? We're working on some things, moving some things around, so I'm just trying to make sure you guys hear me so we can talk about it. Wow, UFC 226, excuse me. Main event, first round knockout. And the new Daniel Cormier. Congratulations. Listen, it was a fun fight while it lasted. Smash the like button. I thought Stipe started off real strong. He was landing some good strikes, clean 1-2s, yap yap. Cormier, he does this weird thing. The one thing, observation wise, Cormier, even though he's fought at heavyweight before, but then he dropped back down. And one thing I noticed immediately, Stipe looked adequate size. Cormier looked like he kind of looked out of shape, you know what I mean? Like, I understand that body type and all that, different people wear weight different. That doesn't mean he's not strong, things like that. But I've seen him in various fights, and he just didn't look like he was in crazy shape. But power is power, right? They said in camp when he was sparring guys, he was knocking guys out. They said he's stronger at this weight, which I believe. The reason I believe that is because remember the towel gate he had before that fight where he missed weight and then they had to weigh in naked, it still didn't work, and then he was on his tippy toes or whatever. So it sounds like, especially as you get older, your metabolism naturally slows. It sounds like he was struggling to make weight, you know what I mean? So not having to cut weight, getting to eat a little bit better, right? Getting to eat a little better, get some more protein in and stuff like that. It seems like this weight was more fitting, and it showed in his power. I thought this was a good fight. The co-main event sucked. For a heavyweight fight, it was equivalent to boxing's Tyson Fury versus Vladimir Klitschko to me. For a heavyweight fight, when guys have power, listen, the heavyweight champion of the world, people want to see some destruction. People want to see some damage, things like that. And the firepower that Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, have, you expected more. I never would have. I told you guys on my last live stream that I was getting off of the live stream merely to watch that fight. And the co-main event was super disappointing. But the main event made up for it. ESPN card was disappointing too. But props to that man, Daniel Cormier. And you know what? Speaking of the co-main event, I will give credit, in my opinion, credit to Stipe Miocic. To me, it seemed like Francis Ngannou from fighting Stipe just the last fight, because if I'm not mistaken, he didn't have any in-between fights. He just went on and fought Derek Lewis. I think he's gun-shy from the Stipe fight. There's no explanation for him being that size, having that type of, like I said, firepower, that type of power in general. And he's so cautious. He's just like, he doesn't want to scrap. I don't know. So that's kind of how he was fighting in the Stipe fight. But it was a little bit different because Stipe, he looked like he gassed out after the first round. And then this fight, why I thought it would be better in the co-main event is because he looked like he wasn't as bulky. Like I follow him on Instagram or whatnot, and he looked like he was diesel, like he was in shape, and he did what Anthony Joshua did in boxing, right? He did exactly what Anthony Joshua did, where he came in really big and super massive in the Klitschko fight and the Taka fight, and then he decided versus Parker to not come in so heavy. And I seen Ngannou on Instagram and stuff, and I'm like, okay, he means business. He's coming in real light and things like that. So this is going to be a better version of him. But it wasn't, and they threw very few punches. But let's talk more about the main event, because I know the main event made up for the co-main event. But I do think the Ngannou might be gun shy from the Stipe fight, because that's where we really started to see him kind of hesitate. And now he just picked up a second back-to-back loss. Not a good thing. Stipe fight was different. Stipe came out like a champion. He was throwing some vicious 1-2s. And Cormier, he looked visibly smaller to me. He seemed squared up. There was parts where he was getting hit, like getting touched. Like I was like, you better stay out the pocket like that, because he was the shorter man. It looked like he was trying to find his way in. And Stipe used to box. I think he was either silver gloves or golden gloves. So his game is more of a stand-up game. And Stipe was getting off on Cormier with some shots. And he was coming squared up and he was taking some shots. I'm like, okay, you don't want to be there, because we know Stipe has power, things like that. What I'm impressed with is Cormier's resilience, his power, carried back up as he fought again at the heavyweight division. And to me, Stipe was pretty tough. And I thought Stipe had a lot of momentum. He looks like Woody Harrelson to me, too. That's just a little side note. Every time I see Miocic, I think of Woody Harrelson. I don't know what it is. But Cormier, he one of the GOATs. One of the GOATs. You know what I mean? And it's upsetting to me that the other people, his contemporaries, like Brock Lesnar, failed drug tests. John Jones failed drug tests. You know what I mean? Because John Jones, if he had his business in order outside of the ring, that would be a hell of a trilogy right then and there. But we don't even know. We don't know what's up with John Jones. But I can't take nothing away. Cormier, he's that dude. He did what he set out to do. He moved back up in weight, took a challenge. Some people said Stipe was going to smoke him, and you got to give him credit, because Miocic had a lot of momentum. He beat Alistair Overeem. He got hurt in that fight. He beat Alistair Overeem. So Stipe showed that. So I keep reading. Somebody said Stipe has no chin. Alistair Overeem still has power, and he's big. I mean, whether people think he was off the juice or whatever, he still has power, right? Hey, shooter, block Gregory Clark. Block him. Thank you. Shout out to Ronald Finkley. We're not playing. Listen, Alistair Overeem buckled Stipe when they fought. He weathered that, and then he came to stop Alistair Overeem. He fought Ngannou, who clearly has power. He was considered the baddest man on the planet, scary-ass heavyweight, you know what I mean, like a Deontay Wilder of sorts in the MMA world. And Stipe, beyond the first round, he barely even got touched. So to see Cormier go in there and knock him out in the first round, crazy. Because we know that Stipe is proven, and he was on track, on par to have 4 title defenses at heavyweight, which is historic, you know what I mean, for the MMA standards, 4 consecutive fights or whatever. And Cormier put an end to all that. And then, yeah, I seen Brock got in the cage and pushed Cormier and stuff like that. But Brock, he gonna try to wrestle you. His big ass gonna try to take you down. So, Kitschy Bunt, you sound stupid as fuck. He said Cormier is a silver glove. I said Stipe is a silver glove. I said Stipe. Learn to listen, you fucking dweeb. I said Stipe is a silver or golden glove. I didn't say shit about Cormier. I know he's a wrestler. That sounds stupid. Co-main event I was really disappointed with that. Really disappointed because, and see, this is the thing that sucks. UFC 226, right? UFC 226, the main event and co-main event kind of go together. Where if the co-main event had a sensational performance, a very good performance, then naturally they would be in line to fight the winner of the main event. But the way Ngannou and Lewis looked, you know what I mean? But you have to place more of the blame, I would say, on Ngannou, and that's why he lost the fight. To me, it doesn't really make, like, who's going to want to see that right now off of that performance? Who wants to see Black Beast versus DC based on how they both looked? You get what I'm saying? Stipe should have won. What do you mean he should have won? He got knocked out. How should he have won? It's the fight game. Listen, he was out of here because the ref was over him and he still looked cloudy. He was, look at the thumbnail. He would look like he didn't know where, and then he got up when he's, you know what I mean, he kind of came to his senses and realized what happened, and he was still staggering even when he did that. Like when he kind of had, he was upset, you know, had a little tantrum, upset that he lost, and Cormier came in and cracked him and ended that whole reign, and he was still stumbling. So the stoppage was good. You motherfuckers can make up whatever excuse you want. Just bow down and give it to DC. And I believe he's from the Bay Area too. Shout out to the Bay. But yeah, I hope people aren't complaining about the stoppage, because what is there to complain about? Like look at the thumbnail in the picture. He was out of it, and he took unanswered punishment while he was just laying helpless on the mat. I mean, anytime a ref sees that, it's over. That's just like when Conor McGregor knocked out, I don't know what you're thinking, when he knocked out Jose Aldo. You can't just get knocked to the mat and then your body's like rigor mortis status, and then you getting ground and pounded to death, and then they're gonna let the fight keep going. So he was clearly out. Point blank period. So y'all can stop with the excuses at any moment. DC's from the Bay, isn't he? I didn't make any fight predictions. I didn't know how the fight was gonna play out. I was just looking at seeing it. See, look at the thumbnail. Look at my thumbnail. Look, the ref. Look at his eyes. So, I mean, you can't tell me that was a bad stoppage or anything like that. Yo, make sure you smash the like button. Y'all gotta smash the like button on these live streams. Show the engagement. Keep everything rocking. Someone said it was rigged. Y'all some conspiracy theorists, motherfuckers. I think it was rigged. The black channels. It was a fair stoppage. Just cut it out. Stop it. I don't know what's up with John Jones. I don't know when he's coming back. But they said Cormier was doing this in training camp. They didn't want to say too much, I guess, before the fight. But they said he was stretching dudes in training camp. He felt good at the weight. I don't know. I don't know if I expected. I know Cormier's strong, but I didn't know his power would be like that to knock him out. I watched the fights with like Rumble Johnson and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know if I would have predicted it quite to go like that, especially in the first round. But it was a good first round because it was both guys were working, both guys landed shit. It is what it is. First time watching. I usually watch the MMA fighting post-fight show, but I'm glad I've run into this channel. You got a new fan, bro. Shout out to you. What'd you guys think of the fight? Boxing over UFC? What'd you guys think of the whole card? J-Dog, just start clapping if it's that. You know, because we might have some new people here. Because it's a UFC, because we're talking about UFC. I don't get it. As soon as a black person wins, it's a party. What are you talking about? You sound stupid as fuck. As soon as a black person wins, it's a party. What party? We just talking about the fight. Yeah, the car was on a good pace, on a good track until the co-main event. But then I think the main event, the climax of it did his thing. Did Miocic take Ngannou's soul? That's what I said earlier. It seemed that way. He seemed gun shy. Like, even though he was in shape and stuff, they threw a career, like a low, historic low amount of punches for a heavyweight bout. Two guys with power. And again, you have to get the brunt of that blame to Ngannou. So, I don't know. Maybe it was the Stipe fight. Because sometimes if you overthink stuff, maybe he was so, you know what I mean, I don't want to get another loss. I don't want to, so he just came out when he was trying to be measured. Hey, block Rooster Man. I can't lose to a motherfucker named Rooster Man. Straight up clowns, man. No one has beat John Jones but DC the GOAT now. Yeah, but he failed drug tests. So that's probably why. Didn't he fail drug tests for both of the DC fights? Didn't he fail for both of them? So you have to, a reasonable person would have to say, you kind of have to put an asterisk by those. Exactly. You said it's a false positive. Well, that's the downside when you have any positive, because now the other one, people are going to question it anyway. It's like if Canelo in boxing fails another drug test, it's going to be, people are going to doubt it. That's just what it is. Someone said LOL wasn't a false positive. That's what I'm saying. He had something in it. But see, it's not a false positive. I know he said it was for like some kind of Viagra. Someone said it was dick pills. Exactly, but it's still something in his system that's not supposed to be. So how is it a false positive? That's not really a false positive. You still had the banned substance that they test for in your system, whether you knew or not. That it was just like Canelo. See, listen, you notice how majority of the motherfuckers, when's the last person that failed a drug test and they were like, yes, I admit I was trying to gain an unfair advantage. I cheated. You know what I'm saying? Canelo said it was the meat in Mexico. John Jones said his dick pills or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So everybody have a convenient excuse when it comes to it. Oh, I ate some Lucky Charms and it was a new flavor. Magically delicious. You know what I mean? Everybody can have an excuse of why it was in their system. All we know is it was in the system. Barry Bonds was clean. Yeah, right. And Mark McGuire. And Jose Canseco. Yeah, but the main event delivered. Good fight. It's not like, I don't think Stipe really did anything particularly wrong. I mean, like, people get caught because he got caught with a clean shot. The only thing I would say he did was perhaps he got a little bit overconfident because he was in, okay, Daniel Cormier, just like in boxing, Daniel Cormier is the shorter man. When you were fighting at a range, since striking is your game, stand-up boxing is your game. Like I said, Stipe is a silver or golden gloves. He did that as a kid. So since the shorter fighter is going to have to figure out how to get on the inside, he should have used his height. But when you're in close quarters, that's why he landed that short shot, and then he just crumbled. He just fell into his lap, and then it was a wrap. You know what I mean? So tall fighters need to learn. See, in boxing, Mikey Garcia versus Robert Easter. Robert Easter likes to fight in the pocket, and that could be a problem if he chooses not to box. If he chooses to sit up there and trade with the counterpuncher with the power that Mikey has at 135. You get what I'm saying? You got, for these shorter guys who are strong, known strong guys, make it a challenge. Use your height. You know, Stipe is the guy who had been fighting at heavyweight. Cormier is not the guy who had been consecutively fighting at heavyweight, even though he does have some heavyweight fights. So your whole goal is to keep him at the end of your punches, especially when you have reach and height advantages. And it looked like, just from the eye test, Stipe looked to be the bigger person. Like, he just looked overall bigger. You know what I mean? Especially in the height department. He looked pretty wide, looked in shape, athletic. I don't even think Cormier looked like he was in his best shape. And I've seen him at the light heavyweight and heavyweight mark. And you know what I mean? He just looked a little bit softer than normal. But obviously it worked because he came out as a main event. See, shout out to Lathanos23. Stipe fought a stupid fight. He had 5 rounds to win. And you know what the thing is? Someone said DC gave Stipe that work. Smash the like button, y'all. The other thing I noticed, that I know why I agree with you that he did fight the wrong fight is because he knew Francis Ngannou had all that fucking cracks. Because anybody who watched that Ngannou Alistair Overeem fight that was just before Stipe fought him, and Ngannou was like, ah, and hit him with that uppercut, and Alistair Overeem was just like, that was like some Mortal Kombat, oh, you can, like he just hit him with the uppercut from hell. And Stipe knew that, and he knew that he was dealing with a big ass Wakandan motherfucker Ngannou with that type of power coming off that type of performance, so he respected it. I think, like I said, this is the mistake. He didn't fight tall, he didn't keep his range, and I think he might have underestimated Daniel Cormier's power. He didn't think, he off top respected Ngannou's power, because you could look at Ngannou. Ngannou looked bigger than Stipe. Ngannou had just came off the Alistair Overeem uppercut knockout. Oh, you can, right? I don't know if he respected DC's game. I mean, he probably has to respect it now, but I don't know if he respected it as much. Like, you have no choice but to respect Ngannou because he looks bigger than you, he is bigger than you, and he was coming off the Alistair Overeem. But for Cormier, he looked smaller. He was the guy who flexed his weight and hadn't necessarily been fighting a heavyweight. So that was the big mistake that Stipe made, is fighting in close quarters with the shorter man who might be stronger at this weight, which is what they kept saying. So, what do y'all want to see next for and the new Daniel Cormier? What should be next for him? DC is 40 years old. You circle him and jab the first 2 rounds. But see, that's what I'm saying. When Stipe fought the known threat in the power department, Ngannou, he fought very smart. He fought the smart fight, because that fight wasn't even as action-packed. It wasn't, the pacing wasn't like this. This was like they were starting to land on each other. You know what I'm saying? Pause. But the pacing in the Ngannou fight, it was more methodical. He did what he had to do type of shit, because he knew the level of power that Ngannou possessed. So he wanted to play it smart. So he shouldn't have underestimated Cormier. DC versus Lesnar. Nah, he didn't lose by himself. I'm sure DC's power punch aided in that. Y'all always be making excuses. Someone said he lost by himself. No, I'm pretty sure DC's power shot that connected on his chin had something to do with it. He didn't lose by himself. He could have done something different. Yo, respect DC. Respects to him. Smash the like button. I don't know if Brock Lesnar versus DC will be that type of fight, because, like, I don't know. Stipe has good stand-up skills, good boxing ability and stuff. And then, like I said, I'm impressed because he had a lot of momentum. Miocic had a lot of momentum going into this fight. He was trying out for his 4th consecutive title defense at heavyweight. And then out of nowhere, the guy who's coming back up in weight end up being the guy that not only beat you, but stopped you. So I think he should have paced himself a bit more, and I do think he underestimated Cormier's strength because he was maybe moving up. You know, and it's easy to do. This is a fighting sport. You can be like, oh, I just went the distance with Ngannou. I got this. And the other thing is Stipe had a good amount, except for Ngannou, he was on a knockout streak. He had knocked out Fabricio, and he knocked out Dos Santos before that. So he had, out of his last like 4 or 5 fights, he had knocked pretty much everyone out except for Ngannou. Would you guys want to see a rematch to this, or should DC fight Brock Lesnar? Andre says Brock will be juicing to fight DC. Hey, that's the one thing about some of y'all UFC fans. Y'all be some fair weather motherfuckers. This dude's talking about Stipe sucks bad now because he lost. So when he had won, when he had beat Fabricio and Alistair Overeem and Ngannou, and he was on a win streak, you know, and he hadn't lost since whenever Dos Santos or wherever his loss was. He didn't suck bad then, but now all of a sudden he sucked because he lost. Y'all are some fair weather ass fans. Shout out to Big Time. I feel like DC is everything Cain Velasquez should have been. That's solid. Hey, where is Cain been? That'd be a good fight if he gets Cain Velasquez versus DC. That would be a good fight. I would entertain that. But where's Cain? When's the last time he fought? He's hurt. Oh yeah, they are friends, huh? Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. They would, yeah. Cause I remember he was giving them, they're giving each other accolades and shit. So yeah, that couldn't happen. Make sure y'all smash the like button. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the main event. The co-main event was just atrocious to me. They could have both did a lot better, threw more punches. I don't know what it was with Ngannou. And see, like the other thing is, he might have been overthinking from the Stipe fight, because he definitely gassed out in that fight, and it looked like he was trying to pace himself a lot better. But you can't be that cautious to the point where you're pacing yourself like, I don't want to run out. You know what I mean? I don't want to be on E. I don't want to fatigue to the point where you're not throwing any punches. DC beats Lesnar easy. Man, that I don't even think that would be like that action-packed of a fight like that. Who watched Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt? It'll be that type of fight. He's gonna try to get you on the ground and put his big ass weight on you, that WWE Vince McMahon weight. He's gonna just try to put it on you like and wrestle you. And Cormier's gonna look tiny next to Brock Lesnar's big ass, but it ain't gonna be no stand-up fight. He's just gonna fucking sit on him and wrestle him until the fucking Macho Man pop out or somebody from the WWE. Oh yeah. Yeah, Brock Lesnar, you. That's what's gonna happen. It ain't gonna be no like. You know what's really crazy to me about the UFC? Some fights that you could swear up and down they're gonna be like electric and crazy non-stop action. And then you watch them and it's just like, what? That was the fight? The fight that comes to mind, obviously, the Derek Lewis versus Ngannou. I could have swore in my brain that would have been a good fight. Like, I'm like, there's no way this will be a bad fight. Right? And then it was what it was. Even Rumble Johnson versus DC, especially the first one. I'm like, man, this is going to be, you see that Rumble got cracks. So I'm like, this is going to be an action-packed ass fight. And then it wasn't. It's crazy how that works sometimes. Ngannou is one of the stupidest fighters ever. Damn. Jones versus Brock, winner versus DC. I actually like that better. Shit, make them earn it. They both failed drug tests, I believe, in their last fights. Worst fight since Kimbo Slice versus Dada. 5. I remember that. Hey, but the only thing is, like, they said he was about to die or something. Like, he was, like, supremely dehydrated or something. Rest in peace to Kimbo, though. But they said, yeah, the Dada dude almost died off of that. Because he was, like, I don't know what happened, but he had something wrong with him. Can't lie, I'm kind of surprised at you, at your MMA knowledge. You know your shit. Listen, boxing is my baby, but I like other sports. You know, I try to be well versed. I don't try to be something I'm not. I'm not going to be like act like I know the most about something if I don't. You know what I mean? I know what's going on with the big fights and shit like that, and I watch if I have time. Why did Brock get in the cage though? Like, are you still suspended, bro? Motherfucker got in the cage. Like, you on punishment right now. What is you doing? Who does Ngannou fight next? I don't know, because based on that performance, what, you know what I mean? Like, who wants to see that type of performance? That was just it reminded me of Klitschko versus Fury, where it's like, okay, Tyson Fury won, but it wasn't scintillating. Yeah, he might need a sports psychologist. You know, some guys are after they get knocked out or after they take a loss and that aura of invincibility is stripped away, sometimes they're not the same guys. I don't know what it is. But judging from how he looked like he trimmed down in this fight and he was in like monster shape, I thought he was going to come with it and like try to make a huge statement. Just a couple of fights after that. It's crazy how, this is another thing that's crazy about the UFC. This is why I watch boxing more and I favor boxing, because it's just a lot of the champions, it's hard to stay on top. You'll have a guy who's looking like a beast and then out of nowhere it just easily like gets stripped away from him. Ngannou just went from knocking out Alistair Overeem, and people were saying, oh, this is the scariest man we've seen in UFC heavyweight history, and they're saying all this crazy stuff, to fighting Stipe and losing in a lackluster type of fight. But I understood why Stipe fought how he fought. So he went from being the predator to 2 back-to-back losses. And everyone's like, oh, this dude's a machine, the punching power, it's just crazy. And then now people are like, he needs a psychiatrist, and Ngannou is done. And then Stipe, he just went from having 3 consecutive, like he was on a majority win streak or majority knockout streak. He was on a win streak with majority of them coming by knockouts. Now people are saying, oh, he sucks. It's crazy. But just 8 months ago, after he was looking sensational versus Ngannou, or not Ngannou, but like Alistair Overeem or knocking out Fabricio, they were talking about Stipe fighting in boxing against Anthony Joshua. Remember that? Do you guys remember that when they were saying that, oh, Stipe, he wants to fight Anthony Joshua? Well, if DC can knock you out, then AJ still can knock you out. AJ might take the $50 million for that. I don't know about if he want the Wilder fight, but AJ might take $50 million to fight Stipe. You know what I mean? Stipe's probably 6'4", AJ's 6'6". AJ might take that. He might take the $50 million for that. Love from Nagaland. UFC gave Stipe $750K. Joe Rogan hands out steroids like after dinner mints. Wow, y'all tripping. Make sure y'all smash the like button. We just politicking, talking about this. Okay, let's talk about boxing. The ESPN card, from what I seen, not that good. You had to do a Terrence Howard. I just want to say the ESPN card was not that good. I had to do that Terrence Howard impression. Fuck. I was trying to watch the ESPN card. Sir, I turned on the ESPN card in boxing. It was not that good. Hey, man, this ESPN card, man. Derek Lewis versus Ngannou, man. It's not that good. So it was kind of hit or miss today with the fight. It's not that good. It was kind of hit or miss, but I enjoyed the main event, UFC 226. Shout out again to the GOAT, Daniel Cormier. Cormier versus Brock Lesnar. Will Brock pass his drug test? We will find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. I don't know. DC's that dude. Fuck what y'all talking about. I'm a realist. I give credit where credit's due. I mean, the man's, okay, John Jones beat him, but then he tested positive, which therefore creates at least a shroud of doubt in people's mind. So, you know what I mean, if it wasn't on an even playing field, could we really hold that against him? Then he moves back up in weight, fights Stipe, who has momentum and definitely had confidence. Stipe was, like I said, he was talking about crossing over and fighting Anthony Joshua in boxing and all types of shit. For Coke in the first fight, not Peds. Yeah, I remember he had Coke, but it don't matter. And see, just if you know, like certain drugs interact with other things. I don't know the whole drug game, you know what I mean? I'm not one of the chemists, but there's little stuff. Even watch the movie with Denzel, watch the movie Flight. He was high on Coke, and then they gave him a depressant with alcohol or something to try to balance him. So the bottom line is we don't know what is up with Jon Jones. Hell of a fighter, storied career. Even Dana White recently said this. Crazy career, crazy skills, but sometimes outside of the ring, antics not all mentally there. Because when he knocked out Cormier with that knee, I was like, oh shit. This man just came back out of nowhere and just like brutalized DC. And DC was even crying. He was crying. He was crying in there. Remember? He was in the cage crying afterwards because he was so hurt that he got lost. And then right when everyone's giving Jon Jones max pub, max pressure, it comes out he failed a drug test for something. So it's like, damn, right? Just some people just can't seem to get it right. Yeah, he was crying like severe. He was crying like Red. Man, my grandmama gave me that chain. Red from Friday. Oh, the Beach Cruiser. You know, the one I let you use a couple weeks ago. Oh yeah, that bike. What about the time he tried to choke me in smoke backyard? Now that was different. Man, my grandmama gave me that chain. Oh, hell nah. He gonna cry in the car. Hell nah. He gonna cry in the car. TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt. That's a good fight. Good rematch. I'm looking forward to it. DC is very passionate about his work. That's why he cried. Look at it. There's always a Captain Saver. We know. I get it. He's like, he's very passionate about his work. That's why. Thank you, sports psychologist. I gather that much. If a motherfucker's crying, obviously, Shakur Stevenson cried at the Olympics. Obviously, it hurt his feelings that he didn't achieve what he expected. Didn't get the desired results. But thank you for breaking that down, Mr. Sports Psychiatrist. I really appreciate you. And now I understand the mind of DC a whole lot better because of you. I respect DC. Oh my God. Let me get off of here because y'all, the fucking PC police are here. Someone said, I respect DC crying and all. Motherfuckers, I'm joking. He cried. Man, he cried because he had a reason. Like, okay. I just bow down, I just said he's a GOAT. And y'all mad because I did a little jokey joke about the cry. Y'all are this sensitive? Y'all are this sensitive, really? Like, this is crazy. Man, he had every right to cry, man. Like, you about to cry. Y'all motherfuckers about to cry in this comment section because I made a joke. I got to get out of here, man. So the FCC won't let me be or let me be me, so let me see. They try to shut me down on MTV. Come on and dip. Come on, you fuck that. Come on, you fuck. The FCC won't let me be. God damn, y'all some sensitive ass crybabies. Shout out to Scissor Asuki. I'm not good with names, but shout out to you for the super chat. Where would you rank DC all time? That Lewis fight sucked. Yeah, I agree with you. He's definitely top 3. Definitely got to put him top 3. You know, like to me, I like. There's a lot of great fighters. And I have guilty pleasures too. You know, like Chuck Liddell, he's like one of the guilty pleasures. Not saying he's the best ever, but Anderson Silva, you got to consider Jon Jones. But like I said, he makes it a little bit hard because of what happens to his career outside. And then you have Cormier. But yeah, Anderson in spite of Silva, he's on that list. I would say Cormier, just his longevity, flexing his weight, the people he's beaten. Rumble Johnson, crazy power, beats him again, right? The first fight, didn't he go the decision with Jon Jones? And it was competitive. knocking out Stipe, moving back up in weight. So yeah, man, DC is a beast. Shout out to you and the new. I like Stipe too. Don't get it twisted. I like Stipe. I like what he's about. He about that action. I like his demeanor. You think Mighty Mouse is number one? I don't know. Like DC and Anderson Silva and John Jones resonate more. I'm not taking it away from Mighty Mouse. Demetrius, he does his thing. But see, DC went after greatness. You get what I'm saying? He went and took on the most dangerous Stipe at heavyweight. Listen, he took on the most dangerous at heavyweight when he had all the momentum in the world and stopped that man in the first round. For Demetrius Johnson, he's a beast, but I would like to see him fight TJ Dillashaw. It sounds like something that the UFC is trying to push, but I don't know if he's trying to take that fight. So sometimes you have to do those things to prove you that dude. You're like, man, fuck Dillashaw, I'll fight him. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? And prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's what DC did. He's always continually fighting the best, taking on the best, taking on guys when they have mad momentum. So I would like to see Demetrius do that. I want to see it like fight Dillashaw. That, like I said, they're trying to push it on you. Every great fighter does stuff like this, not just even in MMA, even in boxing. Andre Ward, I feel HBO try to set that up because they're trying to make Kovalev into the Eastern European star. If he can knock out a name like Ward, we'll put Kovalev in a position where he has the advantage. He's the power puncher. Ward's moving up in weight. Woom, woom, woom. And Ward did what he always does throughout his career. Andre Ward defies the odds and beats the bigger man, beats the stronger man, beats the guy he was supposed to get knocked out by. And then he did it two-peat, back to back. So, like I said, I had nothing against Mighty Mouse, but maybe take that Dillashaw fight. What y'all think of Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz 3 that Golden Boy Promotions is putting on? It's like almost like a reunion. That's crazy. I don't know. That might be a little past the expiration date. Actually, Chuck Liddell got me a little bit juiced because Chuck Liddell, the way he got in Tito Ortiz's face, he was like, he looked like the bitch from Total Recall. You know the Total Recall chick where she started shaking? He got up close from 2 weeks. He was tripping. I like that. I like to see that hunger from Chuck Liddell. But he's like 48 years old. He's almost 50. But he looks like he's actually in good shape. But I just seen an impromptu face-off and he was 2 weeks. 2 weeks. he was tripping. Tito Ortiz is like 42, 44, somewhere in there, 43. And then Chuck is, I think he's 48. Hey, Golden Boy, you gotta do something, baby. So I don't know how it's gonna look. When's the last time either of them fought? You know, I think people are gonna watch it just to satisfy. I think people are gonna watch it to satisfy curiosity. You know, it's like Ken Shamrock, some of his later fights, where you just watch it just out of curiosity, even though it should have happened well before it. You know what I mean? Well before. We're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch it anyway. Yeah, but I mean, they both have a lot. It is weird that Golden Boy, their first foray into MMA, that's the first fight that they pick up. It's kind of weird to me. But Golden Boy, they don't have any big stars in boxing other than Canelo. So at the end of the day, I guess they're just trying to get in where they fit in. So enjoyed the main event. I'm about to get out of here and enjoy the rest of my night. I want to chop it up with y'all. Talk a little of this MMA, UFC 226. Shout out to Daniel Cormier. I look forward to that. Demetrius Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders, let them announce it first. Like I said, you'll notice I'm consistent. I don't really like doing a bunch of predictions for shit that may or may not happen. Damn. Angel, my dude Angel Sanchez said, plus he ain't with supporting nothing that's Golden Girl. Damn. He said, I'm not gonna watch two dinosaurs fight again. The new Jurassic World was enough. Hey, he's going in. Shout out to that man Daniel Cormier. You know, the UFC hasn't had the best year to me. Fighters pulling out of fights, injuries, some matchups not living up to expectation. I think boxing has had a far better year this year so far and last year. So I would like to see the UFC kind of step it up. But ever since Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor lost, it's like the UFC's stock is just like I said, there's some good fights. Dillashaw and Garbrandt too. This was a good fight with Cormier and Stipe, but I think boxing has had a way better year. CM Punk losing again. That's what I'm saying. It's just been a lot of like stuff that didn't really live up to it. I think Chris Cyborg, Holly Holm was cool, but it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? It just wasn't like the fight. Ah. Speaking of Chris Cyborg, I see why they didn't make that Ronda Rousey fight. That shit was not going to be attractive for her. So they did the right thing. Pretend she could beat Floyd Mayweather, let her get knocked out by other people, and then go into WWE and collect her Hall of Fame. I'm a big fan of Tyron Woodley. I like Woodley. He's in that new Arnold Schwarzenegger Escape Plan movie. I didn't know. I guess it went straight to DVD or something. I didn't know that. I thought it was going to the theater. The first one was in the theater. Cyborg would have annihilated Rousey. You know, it would have been Gina Carano 2.0. Crazy. What happened to Chris Weidman too? Like Chris Weidman seemed like Luke Rockhold. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy with the UFC. Some of these guys look like they're the ultimate. Chris Weidman, I'm like, damn, he beat Anderson Silva twice. Wow. And then, like, look at his recent career. Even the Yoel Romero fight. Actually, that was Yoel. He just fought Whitaker. That was good. But who did he fight before that? Who did Yoel fight before that? Khabib Ferguson. Yeah, if Khabib is non-injured and healthy and can make weight. What happened to Conor McGregor? I thought he was supposed to come back and fight Khabib. See, that's what I'm saying. UFC, I want to see something. Weidman got stretched and never been the same. Exactly. Listen, you guys have a good night. Enjoy your night. I just want to give some thoughts on the fight. Shout out to Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic. Valiant effort. Came up short. First round knockout. Good heavyweight fight. Co-main event, not so much. UFC 226. Holla at the kid.